Oh, my thing's off. That's a bummer. Scale that in a little bit. Box. There we go. We are live on TikTok. We are going to go for this high. We get a little bit of music going. If you guys aren't following us on TikTok in this channel, I will get you the link momentarily. What up? What up? Haven't seen anybody come in yet. Share, copy link. Maybe. Copy link. If anybody wants to review anything, now would be the time to do it. We can teach some people. You got me for the next hour, 45 minutes. We don't have to talk trades. My trades are already in. I'm still open on the long. Whoop. Bitcoin getting the breakout. A little bit of background noise. I'm still in this play, right? So this was yesterday's play. Here was our entry. We never got stomped out. Here was our target. So we were looking for holding this low and not breaking this one, obviously. And the target was this high up here. So if I can find that for us quick. I will share you my journal here quick, just how we're doing. All right, so here's Monday's trade. Yesterday we opened a new trade, almost at the exact same entry. This play is still open. And I will show you the actual position so you know I'm not fucking with you. If I can fucking click it here. I'll just snip it since the share button's not working. I did give you the hyper play the other day too, but here is currently Bitcoin long up 73% and the hyper liquidity long up about 41%. Hyper liquidity long's target is way higher than the Bitcoin's target. They will be similar in profit, but the 5x versus a 25x. Oh, where'd snip go here? I can snip this now properly. So here's the entry. 86,144. Does that match my journal? 86,143. I was off by $1. Sorry. But it is down here somewhere. Right in here. 144. And we're looking for this high up here. That'll be TP1. And if we get that break, this is going to be like a second tap trend up here. So the hope overall is that we have a continuation pattern, right? So what we're trying to build here is a demand chain. So we'll actually do this on a separate chart. I don't want to fuck this one up. I do cover these quite a bit on lower time frames, but when we get a higher time frame demand chain starting to form, this tends to get a lot easier to follow because the expected breaks of structure become, you know, if you watched, for anybody in the TikTok, I know there's a bunch of you in there now. I have a channel in Discord, and this goes for everybody here is not really following this, right? So yesterday's video, I did open this up with saying, you know, this is the channel I'm watching. You know, I'm watching whatever happens between here and here to be here. and here to be internal structure on the 4 hour. So my expectation is we hold this low and we break this high. That works no differently than a 5-minute break structure, or a hour break structure, a 15-minute break structure, right? So we just have a low, a higher low, a higher low, a higher low, and the expectation is we still break the higher high. You know, we got all this area to the upside here to run it up and fill imbalance. What the fuck? Hello. Now where's the imbalance in the chart? Where do we have just imbalanced candles? Well, this was already filled from here, right? So we have imbalance technically between here and here, but I would probably mark out this because it was the next candle. And this tapped the imbalance here, and this little wick here tapped the imbalance here. So if we're just looking to label this, this is a fair value gap or an imbalance in the chart on the 4 hour. So our final TP is going to be at the next 4 hour high here, right? This is going to be just a TP2. Whoops. TP2. I'm only going to take about 25% off the trade here because I'm hoping for higher. You know, we were watching for bullish divergence, which, you know, we're clearly making on the higher time frames. And look at this. This is volume rolling out of the market. Let's test. There we go. So price action rolling out of the market, excuse me, volume coming into the market. So this is paper hands coming out. This is larger positions buying up. So if this is rolling up, that is people buying price action, right? Although, you know, we're getting a potential long squeeze to the bottom here, just stomping out all those excess longs. I'm glad you made it, J-Mag. I think you texted me about wanting to figure out the TikTok stuff. But this may be resistance. It may not be on the 4 hour. We got 2.5 hours on the 4 hour candle. We have plenty of room if we do break open interest here for positions just to continue to open. Like if we, let me see the best way to show you this. So let's just, I don't know if this works down here. It does not. So let's do this. Actually, I still can't do it. Well, let's just make pretend. So open interest has got to come up and over, and then open interest, mother, starts to build up, right? So positions start coming in the market, we backtest them out, and then the open interest instead of coming down and closing, contracts closing. Now, if this was drawing down the whole way, like here's the larger context. So if price action is doing this, selling off, and volume's doing this, buying up, and open interest is doing this, what's happening? So everybody who shorted this last structure break, you know, they're closing positions. These are positions closing as price comes back uphill. All these guys thought they had the final break of structure that was going to take us down to 75K or 50K or 25K or whatever their hope was. We're getting that RIM C effect right now. We're getting that backtest effect. And when I say RIM C, I simply mean a backtest, right? So RIMC. So this is range initiation, RI. Mitigation phase would bring us back up near or to the break of structure in a bearish fashion. If we break 4 hour structure here, it's not really a bearish fashion, and then continuation phase. So say we come all the way up and we get something similar to what's going on here. What's the best way to do this here? Let's show you this way. So we'll just pull this whole extrapolation. Say we come all the way up into this zone that we're looking for the TP in, and shit just goes sideways, right? So we get a nice wick into our top area of interest, and then we like immediately break structure down to the backside, to the downside, and price action continues to the downside, right? And what that does for us is it takes all the late shorts out of the market. It gives us some fuel with liquidity to go lower, and then we just continue lower simply. Doesn't mean we'll do that. We have to have a new 4-hour structure shift, 1-hour structure shift, 50-minute structure shift. It has to start somewhere, but it starts with those areas of those maximum liquidity in the market to fuel the direction another way, right? So far we've had a 4-hour break structure into a 4-hour break structure into a 4-hour break structure, so 4-hour break structure, 4-hour break structure, and now potentially we're getting another 4-hour break structure here, right? And that would just continue the momentum to the upside. I'm like not centered on the camera. I apologize. What's up, John? Is that John from Discord or is that a different John? So when we flip this, let's just do it this way. Like if this was a bearish chart, you know, we would have had a 4-hour break structure down, you know, right here, a 4-hour break structure down, and potentially a continuation of that 4-hour break structure to the downside. So it's the same thing over and over and over. We're just looking for the expectational order flow and which way it's going to take us so we can play the markets the correct way, right? Now, if we go back to the top where this thing started, you know, we had 4-hour break structure after 4-hour break structure after 4-hour break structure, and it was just that easy over and over and over again. Get rid of some of this bullshit. I don't even know what chart I'm on. So 4-hour break up, 4-hour break up, 4-hour break up, 4-hour break up. SFP, we did not break higher, right? So this is the key where things start to go sideways. So you're never just stabbing at everything, right? You don't take every wiggle. You know, you wait for something larger like the 4-hour to change or the daily to change or the 12-hour to change, wherever you kind of like to trade. And you wait for those that kind of happen. So we have at the top of the market here, we have a 4-hour high. And we currently have a 4-hour low that created that high, right here. Now we're looking for something internally between the high and the low, since we didn't break it, to give us an indication that we're going to shift downwards, right? So we didn't necessarily get it clean on the 4-hour, but this is a 4-hour candle, right? So this is definitely a 1-hour break structure, a 2-hour break structure. And that was kind of our indication that we're, hey, look, potentially this is it, okay? And then we had that clean 4-hour break. So when you get this break on like an hour or a 2-hour, you're waiting for it to mitigate the fair value in that area for the continuation of the downside. And this is kind of where you grab those Pico shorts, you know, right in the breaker block that created it. This is the last little bit, we call this a breaker block or an order block for one reason. This is the last up candle before structure broke. This is where the maximum amount of longs are trapped in the market. So max longs trapped in market, right? These were the guys who gave it their all in this green, in that green box right there, because they thought it was going to come down into the last demand chain that it had in the market before market failed. So we had a demand zone. You know, we had a demand zone. We had a demand zone. We had a demand zone. Right? All these demand zones. It backchecked liquidity. It continued and broke structure. It backchecked liquidity. It continued and broke structure. It backchecked liquidity. It continued and broke structure. It backchecked liquidity. Exasperated bulls tried to push it back up to break structure. We knew potentially that it wasn't going to based on the SFP. So the swing fairly pattern it put in before that. So failed to take high. Whoa. So SFP, swing fail, the high. Right here. So there's going to be guys trapped there, and there's guys trapped here. Those are the two trap patterns. And then the breaker block, this is the one that just broke the bulls back, right? This is the last of it. Now, if the bulls were going to try to win this back, it makes natural sense to come back into the area where they longed it, so you can do two things. They average down to bring it back up just to get out of the position, or if they felt comfortable holding the position, they would have continued and potentially won. But we let them out, right? So once you let them out, you just watch for the continuation to the downside. And we got that. So 4-hour break, new 4-hour high. You know, obviously we didn't come up and take the high. We put a new 4-hour high in and a new 4-hour low. This was that Black Friday wick, right? So now we know on the 4-hour chart, until we close bullishly above this or bearishly below that, we know the continuation of the patterns. So what happened? Well, we SFP the high again. If we SFP the high, what is the target? The low that put in the high. This is how those couple weeks in a row I was batting 200x plays, because we knew exactly where price target was going, right? So, you know, they're in the Bragwall channel and they're in my VIP channel, but this play was here, right? Here to here. So if you break this low, where's the high that we last put in, right? So here's the high that put in the low. Do we shift up and get that? Well, we have an internal break, and this is where people got bullish again. Hey, thanks for the follow, brother. But if we fail to take the high and we break structure back to the downside, here's the shift. What is the target, right? So swing fail the top. Even if you had like a 1% stop loss here, we know the target is the bottom, right? Easy play. And it kept rolling this time. And we may have known that too by looking out, you know, at the daily chart and seeing what the next low was. I probably only would have taken it to here. But it whoop, straight down. Disgusting. So you could have turned that from like a 6.5% on account to the next trend line down here for a 20% on account. But I think I only took that. And I just watched this. That makes sense to folks? You know, the other thing is what always determines intent for me. Intent's just 2 candles. Let's see here. Do we want to just keep writing shit down for people? Let's do that. Let's go back in the 4-hour. So intent equals 2 candles, right? And we can kind of zoom in for an example on this just into the 5-minute, right? Wow, we're moving with some gas here. I forgot.
Yes, sir.
All right, so where were we when we were looking at this? So we were looking at this right here. So somebody in chat asked, what does BOS stand for? So that's the break of structure, right? So I had it labeled out like this. Actually, I'll just go to the chart. I have it labeled out. This is my live trading chart right here. So I had this little internal break labeled as an IBOS, internal break of structure, which knowing range bottom was down here, right? So if we break structure up here, I know that order flow intent is probably going to come up and fill this. Even if we get a retracement, as long as the low that created this high doesn't get a close below, I knew we had a 5-minute order block sitting here that we could tap into. That's such an easy play. Every single time you see the intent, it doesn't close below the low, it makes one green candle here, and I think that's just the entry for the long every time. And if you're a smooth operator, I think you can just take it right off the order block. So if you had some sort of real tight risk to reward here, covering the low, entry at order block with a 0.16 risk to reward, even to range high, it's 7% on account. That is stupid good. And if you held the breakout, I mean, bang, 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 bang. It just, I mean, look at this, right? The safe play is taking the candle body close on the first bullish candle. You move it to a 0.32% stop loss. So that's half the risk. You know, so you go from a 6 to a 3 at TP1, but we knew potentially it was going to break out, right? And we're just riding it. It's up 3%. Insane. We are rolling. Oops. Swear word. Sorry, TikTok. Let's take a look at some other things. We are also long hyperliquid. And our entry is pretty peak up from yesterday. Testing this trend line. Let's go ahead and find that. So where's my snip tool? So here is hyper. Entry price of 32.22, which should be down here in this area right here, where I have circled. And this is a long position, 32.22. We saw the absorption on the 15-minute chart here. We covered the low for a 1.29% stop loss. So that is why the position is only about $5,000. It's $5,500. Because we have to size in for a 1% stop loss. If I got wicked out here, I lose like 1%, right? But we start making that back, increments, leaps and folds, if we think this is going to come up to the TP we think it is going to be. So TP1 was 38 bucks. TP2, 41. TP3. So we have potentially a 26% on account. If I didn't TP at all, but I'll be TPing. So just right here would be 15%. But we're in that gap. We are in single print zone. We just have to close this and not SFP it, right? The second danger here with hyper, zoomed out is we have to get acceptance back into the old auction. And we will take a look at that here just 1 second. What's up, Kyle? Actually, we may have acceptance already. So here would be acceptance 1. Let's see if we can find maybe the curve. We got to get back in here. So I think we can bearishly retest all the way back up to the first TP here. So this could be just still a bear flag on hyper, right? So same with Bitcoin. So we get that kick up. It TPs, we get a head and shoulder pattern, it breaks structure to the downside, much like this, and then it just starts coming back down. So these aren't swing plays, macro plays to all-time highs. These are just macro plays into, the next 4-hour break structure to the downside. So whatever reverts. So I can move my stop loss probably right into here now at about 33, 32.90. And feel pretty safe about this play. If it reverses on us, so be it. We get stomped out in some profit. I'm also long Ethereum. Ethereum play is already set up here, so we don't have to double check any of that. All this stuff was given in the VIP channel. If you guys are paying attention, my premium folks, I'm not telling you to copy trade me, but the ideas are there, right? Where's the maximum amount of liquidity sitting right now in Ethereum? We even had this whole head and shoulders pattern drawn out. So this one's even more fun for me, right? So we can get rid of this. We can get rid of this. So we have a bunch of supply chains just pushing us lower here. If we zoom out, we are well below current liquidity curve on the daily, but we are back testing a former break structure on the weekly and the daily. So we are in a very good area to either get a dead cat bounce or continuation to the upside. So dead cat bounce would probably come back into the maximum amount of liquidity in the market that's currently sitting and resting. Where is that going to be? Well, it's probably going to be in an area where there's fair value, right? So actually all of this, but I like this particular area the best. Now, if I'm just looking at time horizon, so time in the market, there is November 12th through November 20th. All this right here is just loaded with stop losses that are just begging to be licked. Now, coming up and licking all those out, you're going to get a reaction. So I'm looking potentially on Ethereum here to come the whole way up. We get a nice sound green candle up into this area on the daily. We get a nasty wick into this zone. and we end up closing below it, getting some kind of retracement, we're going to get a bounce, right? So it's going to bounce off this line. And when I mean bounce, it's going to go like this, right? And that's where we're going to start to make a new decision. Sorry, text message. But when we do this, what kind of pattern could we build for continuation? So all I do constantly is try to theory craft where we think the market's going to go. You know, where we seek liquidity, where we bounce off of things, where it does from there. What kind of pattern? Hey, J-Mag, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
So what do you see here? What do you see if price gets accepted? J-Mag's one of our premium students. Let me just figure out what I want to do here first. So what kind of pattern are we doing here if we get this push up into this zone and we get a little bit of retracement? We've done a couple things. Well, we could be a bull flag, right? Josh, thank you for the follow. But if you're looking at the larger pattern, we have a Model 2 accumulation pattern. So this is a shoulder ahead, potentially put that second shoulder in, right? And that second shoulder, yep. And you weren't wrong with the idea of the bull flag either, right? So that second shoulder, if it forms a bull flag, you know, we get the same kind of measure move as we do off a head and shoulders pattern, right? Almost identical. So we could be forming the, you know, a Model 2 head and shoulders here, or a bull flag. You can call it as a retail pattern, but the extrapolation of that self is going to be the entire compression of this internal range if it gets reaccepted up here and doesn't break back down, right? And then we get an extrapolation to the upside. And if we get that extrapolation to the upside, where's the next resting amount of liquidity in the market? Well, we have from here all the way to here. Here's November 13th, all the way back to October, the last day of October. So we have 2 weeks of stop losses sitting right here and right here and right here. And we have another imbalance in the charts on a higher time frame sitting above that. And that imbalance gets filled with that measured move. Okay. I'm just going to delete some of that. You know, I have things like this drawn on the chart in several places you'll see, because I think that's a fast liquidity zip. I think if we get above this, we just zip the whole way to the top. Okay. And we hit that previous demand or supply chain. Now, if we get up there, oops. If we get back into that zone, right? And it looks like this. J-Mag, what are we doing now? It's the same model on a larger time frame. It's still that market maker pattern, Model 2, head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, in the same place, shoulder, right? So we went from this internal pattern to this larger external pattern.
Yep.
Now, if that gets extrapolated, where does that go? Right? I already have it here, this pull. Well, that heads up to the entire top of the market again, right? So, you know, I'm not saying that this is gospel, but if there was an excuse to long the bottom back to all-time highs, it's literally printing right now, right? You just have to survive the dips and not be shaken out. So we can see invalidation on this with like a daily bear structure flip back down, or a 4-hour bear structure flip back down if that's the kind of exit you want to take. But that's what we're looking for the entire way. And that gets us up into an area with this measure move of tons of resting liquidity in the market. So we go from literally October 10th all the way back to August 10th. So we have 30 days of stop losses, stop losses, stop losses. Everybody thought they timed the top of the bear market. They're literally just holding, saying this is never going to come back up here. The cycle's over. History repeats itself. You know, nothing's changed. We're probably going to come back down to sub $1,000, and the whole thing starts over again. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe these guys in these shorts up here are correct. and it just keeps finding a higher high, a lower high, and then continues to the downside, right? Or maybe we continue to the upside, right? So this is how we position ourselves on these things to be right. So we have to find that macro bottom, and the excuses for that this is a macro bottom has already started on the daily, right? So daily is making divergences to the upside. 2-day is starting to roll up. 3-day is smoked and starting to point up. 5-day is smoked, looking to roll up, and the weekly is smoked, looking for a bounce. You know, every time, and again, oscillators can stay oversold. There's hundreds of excuses to discount what I'm about to say, right? But in general, if your oscillator is oversold, and we start rolling uphill, it tends to continue uphill for a bit, right? Until we make some kind of lower high. You know, same thing here, right? All the way back up till it was oversold. All the way back up till it was oversold and rolled down. I mean, just longing and shorting the weekly oscillators, you know, you would only get a couple plays in a year probably, but not bad options, right? You know, very rarely do we make a low on the oscillator that's not a higher high in the charts, right? Again, here's the low, here's the low, here's divergence, and continuation over and over and over again. So here was a low that bounced and came lower. And that was the bottom of the May 24 correction. So I think ETH's looking pretty good. You know, if there was an excuse for institutions to be interested in continuing into some kind of long pattern, I think we just built it, right? We built the model that can take us higher into the market. Now I have, you know, bearish scenarios built into this as well, right? So let's just get rid of some of these extra highlights. You know, I'm not here to discount that this could just roll over and die. You know, we will take positions if that is the case. You know, that's what we do. We're traders. We ride the trend. We hop on with the whales and we continue moving to the upside or the downside, right? We trade both ways. We're not spot bag holders here. Anybody over in the studio watching, if you want a free 30 days of premium, we trade live New York every single day. Live trainings 3 times a week. Sunday nights, Saturday mornings, and Sunday evenings. In the holidays here, so there was no training tonight, but hop over in Discord, open a ticket, and I'll get you set up with that. Or it's tacticaledgetrading.com/trial for the holidays here. Now, where do we have, you know, this really finite hammer that came into Ethereum, right? So we have this area on the charts where we set this liquidity curve to keep moving the supply chain down, right? So if price action comes up into this area and starts sweeping into this chain, it has a very good excuse to come up, grab this top, bonk this trend line, and then just reject, right? And that's kind of what this purple line is here. So we come the whole way up into to sweep the rest of the liquidity that's just been sitting in the market begging to be taken. And then we hit our head, we shift down, and then we just continue lower, lower, and this trend line remains intact. So until we are over this trend line here, I am still macro bearish on Ethereum going lower. Okay, so breaking this trend like this bull flag breakout is here, breaking this trend line is what I want to see happen to ETH, right? I want to see it break down from here. So instead of getting this bullish break of structure to the upside, you know, we get this bearish break of structure to the downside, and this thing just does this, right? It just boom all the way back down, and then it just continues to the downside. Let's see if we can just manipulate this a little bit to make it do what I want it to do. There we go, right? So we get this. It comes up, it whacks its head, and then we continue to the downside. But as far as like long-term ideas, I mean, look at this trend line, right? Tap, 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 sweep, tap, continue. Continue, right? It just holds this line the whole way through everything, which would be super ideal. Now I'm going to go ahead and share this chart into... That's a 54% bounce, man. If we can nail this play, that would be amazing. We're also in an 8 along too. We're going to look at that. Let me just share this idea in Discord here quick. Macro ETH. Potential. Let's take a look at Cardano. The coin everybody loves the hate. We took a long yesterday. Our entry is already on here. So we tapped in at about 40 cents, 0.79, I believe is my entry. And stop loss is below the low. That is a 1% on account loss. And we are targeting this break of structure here on the 4 hour because the same indications that we saw on Bitcoin are in all of these charts. It's in the ETH chart. It's in the hyper chart. It's in the Cardano chart, right? So we saw an original break of structure, a back test to hold the low, a trend line forming, new demand chain on the chart. Now, the goal was easy. Just like we explained with Bitcoin, it's either we take this low or we take this high. And after a former break of structure on the 4 hour chart, I was keen to think, hey, look, once we get this mitigation phase, potentially we get a new shift of structure. We're getting it right now internally. But the external high here needs to be broken for a 4 hour break structure. This is a 4 hour IBOS, internal break structure. And we're off to the races. So same kind of thing. You know, I had this extrapolation broken up. Let's see here. This is 4 hour and same type of thing, right? So if we hold this low, the target is this high. And we're starting to get that indication of shifting upwards. And again, we can shift downwards, you know, at any point in time and come chase this low, right? But these Black Friday wicks are just nuts. Some of them were at 0. And while I'm thinking of 0 here, was it the Binance chart? Oh, I have Mexi only. I thought Adam hit 0 on something. Anybody remember what chart that was? Was it
Yeah,
Binance?
it was on Binance, yeah.
It went low. It hit 0 at one point in time on that Black Friday dip on the perps chart.
Yeah, if you check USDT, maybe, or perps.
There it is.
There you go.
1 penny on fucking, I don't know if you guys can see that wick, but the wick ends right here. 1 cent. Imagine getting that fucking entry. Holy shit. Yeah, it would be insane. So anyway, same kind of thing here on Cardano. If we hold the low, we keep shifting up, we keep holding some sort of new liquidity curve to the upside. I'll probably set a stop loss here so this doesn't come down and wick me out now if this does break this 4 hour top, because it shouldn't theoretically come down again. But if it does, we'll be safe. We'll be looking for a counter short. I just want to add alert on this. So same kind of thing, right? Zooming out to the daily. I think we're printing our another green candle here. Like daily high is way up here. Let's clean this up a little bit. This was kind of crude with. So here is the same kind of thing. We're looking for ETH today, potentially finding its way back into a former auction. So high, low, acceptance into new auction. But the daily high right now is way up here at 59 cents, 60 cents. So hitting that would be a daily target. And the same kind of thing would start to form that model 2, shoulder, head, shoulder. You know, we get that wick like we talked about on ETH. You know, we get that candle body that closes probably below this range, but has a nasty wick. you know, potentially all the way up into this trend line. You know, we get a considerable retracement from this point, right? Like this would be here, potentially. It could be anywhere. This is just theory crafting, right? But I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to wick up into this. It's going to hit that trend line. It's going to get some kind of super bearish rejection. You know, either we come all the way back down to the bottom of the new range we formed, but the key would be we want to hold this acceptance of this new auction, right? So we want to hold this area, right? This area, right? We don't want to give it back. If we give that back, we invalidate the model. So we hold that shoulder right here, right? And then we look for that next break of structure for continuation, right? So we look for this, that new break that could fuel us over that daily trend line and give us the excuse to chase the fractal the whole way back up to the top, right? And all of a sudden it becomes a play like this into something like this, okay? But the bearish thing is if we lose, you know, the accumulation pattern we put in and we fall below that, you know, what we're looking for is that continuation break to the downside. And this would be the key, that if we took the contrarian short from the top of liquidity zone and we get this bounce like this, we cut the short, right? But if we get the rejection and a continuation of the break, we hold the short and we ride it the whole way back down, okay? So that's how you just follow simple breaks of structure. I don't think I'm long anything else right now. Those other two, unfortunately, on Femex, I'm not logged in the desktop. S&P play is doing okay. We are long S&P. I'm up about 900 bucks on that today. Again, I will just show you so you know that it is real. I don't know how to show actual value. Here we go. So I'm long on the Bitcoin, I'm sorry, BTCC futures, S&P 500. That is about 37% up. It's a 20x long. And that really rounds out the what we're long in. Not short anything. Bitcoin is still pumping. Give me what I want. Thank you for the follow. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a rose. Oh, and a follow. RW Brown 29. Here we go. We get a continuation here. Slight internal 4 or 5 minute low here. We are well over sessions. I mean, next highs. I think it's the whole way up, man. We just keep soaking up. But this was like the whole thing we talked about. This is VWAP on 30 minute? What is that? Am I going fucking insane? Oh, it's anchored VWAP. It's an anchored VWAP. Yeah, it's an anchored VWAP. So this might be an interesting area to get some resistance. That's the weekly anchored VWAP. But this whole plan moving out pretty good here, but we got to bring these down a little bit now because I thought I was going to break here. Let's so this guy's broken. This guy, and then we have this guy. This guy we can get rid of. Let's just get rid of this. 1 hour's getting a break. 4 hours certainly gonna get a break, but we gotta close it, right? So we gotta close above our new break structure. So in 2.5 hours, this could just be a nasty wick, and we close back below, and then we're already reevaluating what's going on for closing things. Man, shit looks great. Take a peek at man, this could have been one to take. Over resistance, back checked it. Continuation on Hondo here. I mean, these all look the same, right? This is manipulation below the range. Manipulation below the range. Solana. I got stomped out of this, unfortunately. I think I gave this play on TikTok at one point. But this is where I belong again. And that was the weekly low. And then we had the monthly low. But we nailed the short. Could be early to an AVAX play here still. No confirmed break. We are getting another break structure. Do I want to eat like a 5% stop loss? 3.5%? Not really. How far back could this check from here? 5%. I think we just let that fly. Hype's looking good. BNB always looking good. This chain is stupid. This is the only one that came back and took its wick. That's crazy. Look at this. It's a path right back to all-time highs in BNB. This is tempting. 12% stop loss. I might try to average into this. Do I try to average into this? PBDH is gonna come up. Not even sure what that means. This is well oversold. This could be good here too. 5%. I've been telling people I want to buy some MORPHO slab. MORPH. Just gonna do the start. See what happens. We gotta set some alarms though. Alright, let's see if we can't play this out. So, new curve. Add alert. Create. That's the cut. So 4-hour high that we need to break is here. Add alert. We have fair value gap we can add right here. Alright, right, so if we come back down this line, I will add my second half of my position right here. Add alert. So what I did right now was I created a scenario where I'm 0.5% in. Stop loss down here, so 4%. It's gonna be like a max $2,500 play, unfortunately. But this can still pay, especially if it takes off. Look at all that resting liquidity. All right, so if we come back down, I lose 0.5%. If I don't add anything, I lose 0.5%, right? I have an alarm here set. Did I set an alarm on this? There we go. I have an alarm here set. If it comes back down and fills fair value here, I will add another 0.5%. And if we get a bullish structure shift at the top, I'll probably add my last 0.5% there and pull my average up. So I'm looking for something like this. You know, we hit some kind of resistance. And then bang. But it may just go. If everything else just goes, it's just gonna go. But this is clean cut. I'm not holding past this. Cut it, bitch. Now the discipline is actually cutting it when the alarm goes off. Stop loss is there, so it doesn't make a difference. But nice 15-minute shift. Again, 15-minute is rich for that back test. Oversold. You know, bang, bang, and then bang. And what is that pattern, good sirs? Model 2, shoulder, head, shoulder. If shoulder fails and we start coming back this way, it is over. Crypto liquidity is going to be light through the weekend because tomorrow the markets are closed, so it could do whatever the hell it wants. If on-chain folks want to push it, it can push it. But this is still leaps and bounds below a lot of these other areas. Excuse me, a lot of these other fractals. So it is already pushing up and over. I mean, XRP is already broken out. Ondo is already broken out. Ethereum is already broken out. So it is not unlikely that, you know, by tonight or tomorrow, it's up in here somewhere. It has not had as long as the accumulation pattern as some of these other coins. Because this actually broke down while others were already making higher lows. Which is another interesting twist. Where's all-time low on this? I mean, this is fresh. I mean, it broke fractal, right? Here. Absorption here. I mean, that's a bearish wiggly chart. So again, all these are dead cat bounces until we get something that breaks over these. So they all have these higher time frame hammers on us. And if we don't break this line, we just continue to the downside. If anybody in Discord's got questions, just shoot. If you guys want to see something, you want to see some market structure, you want to see, you know, where we're at on something else. S&P, silver, gold, Oracle.
I got a question.
Sure.
So the second half of the position for the morph is based on the FIB retracement golden pocket?
It is based on more of the accumulation line, but let's take a look. So if we take the golden pocket retracement of the current high, right?
Yeah.
It's more the 786. But what I was looking for was the invalidation of, or excuse me, the validation of getting that fair value filled. All right, so if we go back out to the higher time frame chart, we're going to have imbalance between this wick and this wick. But if we fill it, it's going to come all the way back down here. So that's more of what I was doing it just based on imbalance in the charts. So we don't know where the high will be. So if the high pulls all the way up, if we just come straight up into here, right, without a pullback, we can certainly do that, right? You know, the golden pocket becomes about that same area, right? Or if we get a bounce on like the 0.50 and we get another structure break, this is typically the two ways I do this is it fills here, or I confirm a higher time breakout and we do this, right? And then, you know, we get a full body candle close over this. It pulls back slightly and then re-breaks out in like the hour chart. And then I'm adding the second half here. Now, unfortunately, what this does is it pulls my average up. So my play becomes something like this, right? And I probably still risk the full 1% back down into this trend line, if that makes sense. Wherever this trend line ends up being. So I'll add here and then cut it at the low, or I just don't add here. And I'll add at the next breaker structure over. So the same kind of thing like ETH's doing right now. Inactivity detected. Let's go ahead and fix that. There we go. What were we talking about? ETH. So we're getting that secondary break right now. So I would add as soon as it pushes through here, like the hour chart with a close. So boom, add. And then the 4 hour just keeps pulling it. You the whole play that way. You know, maybe I'm just happy with a 0.5% in it and it rolls, but I would probably still add myself. But look at all this. This is like all just tasty stop losses. Tasty stop losses. You know, super tasty stop losses. All of this, man. All of this. Super tasty. Like, I don't even know like where it would stop here because this is so choppy. And that's a 4 hour chart. That's wild. I mean, you got to think if it gets above curve, it's just going to go all the way back to the top. And I think that's all. It's not all time high. Interesting. You know, it could be something like just as simple as that. If we get over the curve, reacceptance back above, and then we keep going. And again, we're like way putting the cart before the horse here, right? Show me you want to keep going first. Anybody got anything else? Man, I don't know if Adam's ever coming back. Look at coin. This is all-time lows, bear market lows.
It looks so dead.
It looks very dead. It's got a breakout though. 5% stop loss. Oh, this is what dreams are made of. Even the weekly is like way up here. It's almost like risk. If you even threw 50 this, how much do you make? So what's 125% of $500? You make $750. I mean, for somebody with a $50 risk and a $20 stop loss, that's still a lot of money. You know, 5,000, it's 7,500 bucks. And you risk 1,000, 250 stop loss, right? So, you know, entry, stop loss at the low, 5% stop loss. So 5 times 25, if you're 1,000, it's a $250 stop loss. And if it takes the weekly high, you make 3x. You make 3 grand. The fuck? Leverage, man. I appreciate the follow, brother. And again, I'm not saying it gets up there. This is more realistic. It's got to start somewhere, man. I mean, what's big that's built on Cosmos? Anybody know the biggest project? I can tell you. Anybody know that?
BNB?
No. Pro.
Oh, yeah, as well.
BNB is not built on Atom. Atom is an L1 layer, so I guess it theoretically could have been, but the entire crypto.com infrastructure is built on top of Atom. Well, if anybody over in the TikTok gallery there's got any questions, let me know. If you want to see a coin, you want to see a stock, you want to see a commodity, doesn't matter to me, man. We're just vibing over here live in the Discord. So we're just hanging out. This is like what's left of the New York crew from this morning. I'm feeling good about at least a dead cat bounce until we get some sort of Brandon, thank you for the follow. A little bit of a wiggle here on the crow chart or the Atom chart. Does that give us a bottom? How oversold are we? Weekly's lower and lower volume. It's hard not to take a stab at that, which is $50, right? Fuck it. Let's do it. Atom. 5. This is nowhere near. I mean, I'm not fucking losing anything. I'm already up like 6 grand today. Fucking stupid. Just for the lulz, boys. Mm-hmm. 142. So I'm just putting stop losses in here. Oop, I'm sorry, that's not right. It's gonna be 140. I lose 280. I did a little wrong in the math there. I gotta make it. I guess it really doesn't matter. Can you look at NCT Polyswarm token? Sure, sir. Oh. That is the ugliest amount of liquidity I've seen in a long time. If I had to venture to guess, brother, this is dead. This ain't ever come back. This is very manipulated. This is a lot of wash trading. I don't know what Polyswarm is, but I will give you the fundamental analysis here. So volume is rolling uphill. This is just a little different than my other screen. So price is rolling out. Volume is rolling up. So there are some people buying this. I don't want to say, I don't know for sure coin. I mean, if this is like some sub $1 million coin. Let's just check the market cap quick. NTC. CT. 20 million, so pretty illiquid. It's a launch pad, so what's the incentive if people stop launching on it? I'm not trying to talk shit about the coin. I don't know a whole lot about it. Maybe it's the best thing, you know, get the best run. I tend to trade the top 10, top 15 coins with good reason, right? They have liquidity. People want to buy them on a daily basis. Institutions will buy them. We got a 12% pump here, so I'm past any kind of entry. I mean, daily wicks are 10 to 15%. It is 80% rise into the daily high, right? So if there are people looking to load up to continue to short this or sell off, they're going to look for the 80% pump. Potentially a dump here, right? If we get above this level, I'm feeling more bullish on Polyswarm. Again, I don't know anything about this, but all of this indicates manipulation. The way the candle bodies look indicates manipulation to me. Good news is potentially This is just, I'm not saying institutions are buying a $20 million coin, but if there's going to be a manipulation outside of the current range, we're here, right? So even getting an alarm set at 0.0145 and getting acceptance back above this range is key to going higher, right? Otherwise, we just kind of whack our head and we continue lower, breaking structure lower, okay? You know, there is obvious absorption in this area here. So every time we come into this zone, we get a big lick, and a rejection. That is larger accounts selling off into lower price action. That's what I'll be watching. I'm not recommending anybody to buy this. This is not something I would share with Discord. But structure actually works on this. So even if we just zoom out to the daily chart, you know, I've seen crazier things. I've seen illiquid altcoins do craziness, right? So we have this downtrend. Let's just look at it because it's true. Uptrend, daily structure low, failure of the back test, immediate break of structure, right? This was the beginning of the back test. When you get this, I'm interested in shorting Bitcoin into the ground when this happens, after we claim back in balance. So we have actually, this is called inverted fair value. So not just a fair value gap, it's a fast up, a fast down with inversion in fair value. So it's two fair value gaps. So there is massive imbalance in that candle there. That is always an area that's always with a 90% certainty going to get hit, right? And if I'm looking to short this coin, you know, I'm probably in here, right? And it's a dangerous zone to be in, but if you zoom in on like an hour chart or the 4-hour chart instead of a daily, you're looking for the shift right in here, right? Obviously didn't take that, but if anybody remembers my pie short that went for like 700% to the downside, that's the same kind of thing we do with all these illiquid coins. But this break of structure on the daily here is your first indication that we are going to continue downhill, right? So we claw back everybody who's late to the shorts, and we just continue breaking structure, break structure, break structure, break structure, break structure, break structure, break structure. Oh, what did we do for the very first time? We broke structure to the upside. So the low that made the high never got retaken out. It didn't come back down and break this and continue down. It has not happened in this entire downtrend on the daily chart, quite literally ever. So the safer play on Swarm, Polyswarm for me, is waiting for it to break structure, and then you hop into the back test. So once you break structure, you know, we're always looking to start that demand chain. And where's that demand chain going to be? Well, it's going to be between the golden pocket and the 0.50 retracement. And we took the golden pocket here, right? So we put in a baseline like we always do. We got the manipulation below it. And as soon as you got back in here, this is where you would have been, right? You just hold. And then look at that play. That's a nasty run. I would not have held any kind of back trace there. I just would have sold into 130% pump. I'm out. I'll catch the next one. But this demand chain here just kept going, right? So here's the high. Here's the low it made. Now what happens next? Does it break the high? Well, it wicks it, holds the low, holds the low. And again, this is why illiquid coins are very tough to trade. I mean, look at this. That's stupid. Breaks the high, holds the low, holds the low, breaks the high, holds the low, and then boom. Like, and if you're not selling up here into hundreds of percents in profit, you're not doing it right. If you held this entire pump 300% from wherever you got in, you got to take profits. You got to pay yourself. 800% from the bottom, 1000% from the bottom. Yeah, this is going to take a while to come back. So currently daily high is up here, right? So until we put like 2 candles in, 1 candle down, hold the low, and then break the structure, that's probably when I would buy. I wouldn't be stabbing in the dark at this coin. Cybersecurity token with 100% certification, circulating supply. Whole supply is out. I don't even see supply. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's all out, right? Yeah, this is scary. You know, 200K 24-hour trading volume. I mean, Bitcoin does that in about like 30 seconds. It's on Coinbase Exchange. Is that the SEX? Is it actually on Coinbase? I mean, that's actual legitimate sign. XC everything. That's really about it. I mean, CoinX is a Chinese DEX or SEX. Gate.io, Bahamas, Bithumb, Korean. I mean, nothing huge, right? I think it's a dangerous play. I just think there's better plays. If you got $50 you can throw in it and it goes, you know, 1,000% for you, cool. If not, it's a lottery scratch off. Yeah, I mean, if you got Coinbase, someone on the Coinbase likes it. But just, I mean, look at this unhealthiness versus, I mean, the wicks, extreme wicks versus this, right? A lot of wickage. If anyone else got anything else, not gonna lie, I aped 35K because I got 7x last year. It's good, man. I mean, if you're trading, if you want to like know how to turn that into with some better coins, hop in Discord, man. We'll give you free 30 days. Links in bio. Just open a ticket in the bottom of Discord. We do live trading every day. I mean, I'm in a $130,000 position right now in Bitcoin. And again, like, just transparency. These are the shit. I didn't almost closed my position. Like, here's my quantity: 130K USDT in Bitcoin, and we got about $5,500 in hype right now on just the exchange I have up. And we went over some other ones as well. Thanks for the follow, brother. I guess we could take a look at totals. See if we're getting some nice clawbacks on total here. Oof, this is kind of my target down here, 2.31 trillion. So also leads me to believe kind of dead cat bounce area. But where do we claw back into? The people who longed late. Good old Rim C, baby, on the weekly. So weekly break structure left us a fair value gap in demand. Right in to close that fair value. Well, test it anyways. We didn't close it. So weekly structure high now for total market cap on crypto is way at the top of the range here. This is why we're positioning for bounces, because the weekly could literally just take us back up. But this is what we don't want to happen. We don't want to have 2 weeks up. It stalls out and then just breaks structure to the downside again and then continues the roll downhill, right? Instead of just faking us out. So like this here. This is what really set the bear market off. So we had almost an identical scenario happening last cycle, where we came back in and we clawed back into that demand area. You know, we closed into fair value. We tapped into it just briefly. We got a beautiful bounce. This is kind of, this little box right here is kind of where we're at. So like this candle, it's kind of where we're at, right? So we know what's going to invalidate our upside movements on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on Cardano, on Hyper, whatever other ones we covered today. Welcome, Crystal. We actually got a break of structure in the weekly, which made a lot of people bullish. So a lot of people started aping into retracements here, and it just rolled downhill, right? This is when Luna collapsed, FTX. This was Luna collapse. This was FTX collapse. Right, this is what we don't want to happen. So if there's going to be a bear market and we start coming up and then we get that break of structure through the weekly and then we just continue down for several more weeks in a row, right? So this was the fake out. This was the trap last cycle. And we're currently either setting that bull trap to trap the bulls for lower price action, or the bulls are actually going to hold us and continue the price action to the upside. But this is how powerful weekly structure shifts are. So this is a very rare example where weekly structure failed. Okay. But weekly structure failed here because it came back up into a weekly breaker block. It came back up into weekly excess supply. All these things are very valid in this chart. And this is where short traders knew, you know, there could be a macro short. And we drew out those macro short continuation patterns as well for you. But look at the continuation down here. So we have a new weekly high. a new weekly low. Now we know for a fact, until we set a higher low, which we did, we knew that price action was either going to come up here or collapse further down here. Well, it set a high and then collapsed further down, right? But what it did do was set some couple internal ranges down here where if we did get above these, we knew that if the internal structure broke, we had an excuse to head to the upside and break this. And if this one breaks, we just keep going to the upside until we hit the one that created it. This is the high that created the low, right? But what happened? So we had structure break and it continued in the weekly. This is how strong, this is how we grabbed a bear market bottoms and rode them all the way to the top. I rode a long from 17.8 to 100K. The proof is in Discord on MXC. Now the position wasn't very big by the time I got to 100K, but I held it open just to say I did it. So structure breakdown, didn't take the high, structure breakdown, and here is your very first internal break structure on the weekly, right? So here's a low. If we break structure, targets the high. If we break structure, targets the high. If we break structure, targets the high. This is called expectational order flow, or the other term you'll hear about this is CSID, or so CSID stands for change in state of delivery and expectational order flow. Those are the two terms that are kind of interchangeable. You'll hear everywhere. But as soon as market structure breaks in the weekly, we look for it to hit imbalance and then long it for the moon, baby, on a weekly chart. Tapped imbalance, tapped golden pocket, and it was never coming back, right? All the way up to 100K and beyond. Which is absolutely insane. That it's that easy on weekly structure, right? Now, what happened when we broke weekly structure here? Same thing, just rolled downhill until we hit demand again. Any of you Discord guys got any more questions? If anybody in the chat over on TikTok has any questions, wants to see any coins, commodities, assets, anything, let me know. S&P is going for it on the weekly here again. This is NAS. I'm sorry, this is NAS. Micros. NAS100. S&P. Morpheus already starting to give it back a little bit. I want to bring my average to like right here by entering here. Dun, 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 dun. See if we're getting these 4-hour closes yet. We got an hour. They're still looking pretty good, sirs. This is how we start, though. And we gotta hold the ETH one as well. No, that didn't work. Gotta push through. Here was the other thing that had me bullish, right? So I did share this. This is TRDR. So the coolest thing about TRDR is you can actually measure delta in order size, right? And again, these are things I share. If you don't know how to extrapolate it, when I say whales, it nothing to you, right? We teach you how to extrapolate this stuff. But what are we seeing here on this chart? Well, we're seeing a couple of things. So these three boxes are perp charts. These three boxes or three lines are spot charts. But the first one here, you see the red one disappearing. These are 0 to 10K orders of volume delta, right? If you see the darker one here, this is 1 million plus orders. And that baby blue line that's selling out and down is more of the retail traders at that 10K to 100K positions. That's kind of where I am, right? So smart money is buying this dip, right? The whales, the 1 million plus positions, has put a shoulder ahead, a shoulder in on our oscillator, and is looking to potentially push pricing action to the upside. And that's what they're doing, right? Very, very simple. I mean, this is like clear as day, a manipulation pattern below the low, a regain of range, and a model 2 to the upside. Okay? What are 0 to 5K or 0 to 10K orders have been just slowly giving up their positions to whales the whole way up. So they were way up here while whales were way down here. This is contrarian. Retail stupid. Retail sold the top and is buying the breakout again. It's the exact fucking opposite of what you want to do. Right? And then the 10K to 100K guys, they bought down here. Well, price action was way up here. They bought this sideways accumulation. They held it. They kept buying as it dipped. And now they're selling off because they're stupid. These are not the people you follow in the market. You follow the whales. You follow the smart money. The 100 million or the 1 million plus orders are buying today, right? They have been buying on spot. They have been buying on perps. This thick green line is whales. This was the bottom for whales. This was the bottom of price action. Mr. Watson, good to see you, sir. And you can see here, actually, 0 to 10K orders are selling out again. Do the opposite of retail. If you are retail, do what the whales do. Don't do what retail does. And we can look at this on any asset, right? So ETH. Very, very same pattern. We knew potentially we were making a bottom on ETH, right? Actually, whales have bought almost every dip. So here's a dip on ETH. Whales bought this up. They sold a little bit, but they never gave up the bottom again, right? And here's the new bottom, and they're buying it up again. Just scooping up again. You know, that shoulder, the head, potentially another shoulder here. Actually, they didn't make a head there, did it? Just kind of a double bottom. Spot's been interesting on ETH. But it certainly did it on perps. Shoulder, head, shoulder, break a structure, continuation. Helps if I actually break structure, continuation, break structure. Like we're looking for this level, this 1.6 billion. I'm lying to you. We're looking for this, 1.6 billion to break to the upside on whale volume. So if that oscillator breaks up, we're looking for continuation on ETH. Another, thing we're looking, because breaking market structure on an oscillator is a key for price action going down as well. This is how, we do these. I'm always looking for macro tops and bottoms on this. I'm not necessarily looking for intraday price action, but, when we break structure, it continues up. So TAing your indicators is another valid strategy. And that's what we teach over here as well. Again, if you're hanging out on TikTok over there and you want free 30 days over in Discord, the link is in the bio of TikTok. Hop in Discord. You can create a ticket at the bottom of the stack. Need support. Open ticket, and I'll give you a free 30 days of premium. Okay? If you've never had it before. If you've already used your free 30 days, you do not get another one. So multiple breaks on ETH. Let's look at what are the other ones we in? Hyper. So it's not on Binance, is it? Is Hyper on Binance? I think they purposely did not list it because it's a competitor, but I could be completely wrong here. It is not on Binance. This is going to hurt a little bit. So you're probably not going to see whales on this one just because of that. Let's give this a second to load here. Oh, we are seeing it. Okay. So enough aggregation here to see it. Pippin's a meme coin, right? So again, we're getting the same kind of thing here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. We need a break here. 23 million. Yeah, it's actually, I don't remember if that was actually Scotty's themselves or if that was something that was uninvolved. A little thin on TRDR on this one. Let's look at Cardano. Cardano not as clear, but we look like we could be coming up here. But the more illiquid the coin, the less reliable this stuff is. That's why it's really good on Bitcoin and ETH. Let's look at Pippin quick. Big Pippin. Yeah, I'd already be taking profit. Just based on that daily candle, sir. Again, this looks much like the last illiquid shitcoin we looked at, right? And again, I say shitcoin loosely. It's anything that's like super low market cap. Because they're just manipulated, right? Let's pull it up here. We'll check if it's market cap. I just don't play these anymore. That's me being 100% honest. 61 million. So it's 3 times Polyswarm's market cap. And it still looks like this. But we got to break structure on the daily. So if you're willing to ride a stop, if you're already in this from this area here, if you're willing to, you know, stop out a small loss or break even, my stop loss is at 0.02138. If it closes below this on the daily and not just wick into it, I'm out. But we have a market structure shift on the daily, right? So here was the structure high. Here's the low that put in that high. Here's the low that broke it. So theoretically speaking, you know, the mitigation phase could come all the way back into here and then continue higher and keep breaking structure up. So if you're in from anywhere down here, I would probably most certainly be taking some profits here. This is a massive pump. 300%. Take profits. I'm probably already done with the play. I'm not hoping for more. I'm not being greedy. Let's look at, see what upside hat. I mean, this is, oof. I mean, here's weekly high, right? So does it run? I mean, if you guys are just looking for an excuse for a lotto ticket, I mean, maybe it goes back to all-time highs. Odds of that happening are pretty thin, but anything's possible. I think if we get above the 1 cent, the 10-cent psychological level, it probably keeps going. I'll set an alarm there. Weekly is still oversold. Everything's oversold. And that's the issue with using oscillators on a coin that's 300%. Odds are this corrects. Let's see if we have any indication on like a 4-hour here. So 4-hour low is still here. There is no 2-candle intent to the downside quite yet. And if you're looking for a safe stop loss, I think you're between here and here. So 50 cents, 48 cents, and the cop at 85 cents. Stop loss here. Yeah, these are so, I mean, look at this. It was a sell to buy, right? We pumped 300%, 250%, sold the whole thing off, sell to buy for continuation. That's crazy, man. I don't know how people play these things. You guys got iron fortitude where you're just never right. I mean, we got, you know, excuse for some sort of bullpen in here. You know, and then it's up and over. And then you got, you know, again, another stupid move like this. The trick to meme coins is getting in early and getting out early. So once it pumps a couple 100% or 50% or whatever you're comfortable with, man, just take the profits and move on. Maybe another 78% in this. That's wishful thinking. And that would take us right into filling the imbalance on the weekly. All right. All the way back up towards the top. They are shitcoins. They are indeed shitcoins. I don't really see indication for a short here yet. I mean, you could have short the 15, right? You know, here's your break structure. You know, the back test is always going to be all the way back to the top of the range, and that's exactly what it did. So if you're in up here, I might hold it for lower. Maybe stop loss above 0.7, 0.07. I mean, this money's just like people who are up 300% are going to take profits and rotating into the next illiquid shitcoin. Let's look at the Qs. I don't want to do that on Pyth. I don't want crypto. Here we go. So pro shares here. We hit price discovery. So weekly break of structure, weekly back test, weekly continuation, right? So again, I'm just looking at top down. So starting with the weekly here, you know, if I was a bull and I missed the breakout, I would be looking for the retracement for the full mitigation phase. And what I mean by that is always the RMC. So we have breakout, we stomp out all the late shorts. So range initiation, mitigation, everybody who long the top is now out. Now we're looking for continuation, right? So we are playing price action between the breakout and the all-time high here. Let's zoom in. We took out everybody who had stop losses below the previous low. So now we have an excuse for manipulation. So if we're looking for a manipulation pattern, all right, we actually have a gap unfilled to the top here. So potential shoulder head shoulder, so model 2 forming. All right. Daily market high is going to be top of range here at about 56. Let's zoom in and see if we can't see anything more. 4-hour high is the same. So this is daily 4-hour. Gonna line up with the 2-hour as well. So we had a loss of auction here with a gap fill down and a continuation. So getting above 54.87 is going to be key for higher. Or rejection for lower. We barely have a 1-hour sweep. And we have a small gap to the bottom. Gotta play stocks a little differently. We'll just call that fair value. So maybe we get this. So I'm looking for, like, when I follow liquidity curves, this is kind of steep to me, right? You know, I don't tend to play anything this steep. You know, Bitcoin just kind of, you know, hyper Bitcoin, they all kind of look like 45-degree angles instead of these nasty 90s. So I'm probably looking for a retracement somewhere in here. And maybe we're looking for like the back test of this, you know, current fill, right? I'm not longing the top. We're in a short area for sure. But I'm looking for some sort of, and again, if it keeps going, I'm not longing the top. It's like, if you're flipping a coin, you're going to lose a top blast more than you're going to lose anything else in the market. It's not, this is not a 50-50 play here, right? It may work out sometimes, but it's not a 50-50 play. This is like a 25% win rate. So if anything, we're looking for short. I'm not saying blast short, but we're looking for some sort of mitigation phase and then continuation, right? This is 1, 2. This is third attack on this though. So let's zoom in a little bit here. We kind of have an excuse here for internal model 1. So if this does top blast, which time we got in the day? We got 2 hours and a half. Which is going to get us back into the gap fill up here. Above VWAP, which is nice. Volume is falling out. So if we're looking at the 24-minute chart, we're putting in bearish divergences, right? So this is not what I want to see for continuation pattern. Volume is selling off. So people are taking profits at the top of the range, which is very, very natural. And price action is continuing to the upside from where the volume tapped, right? So again, while it may continue to the upside, I'm not top blasting that. I'm looking for a healthy retracement, stop out on the late longs, which would be the previous break structure. So I'd have alarm here right about 51.97 to entertain some kind of internal shift to the upside for continuation. And it may not be that long, right? It may be wherever this 5-minute chart ends up. The market's closed tomorrow. It's a half day on Friday. This would bring you out to Monday, which is December 1st. So maybe the trend line looks like this. So maybe we get an after hour sell-off. Oh, thanks for the follows, guys. Again, just coming in. The link for our Discord is in the bio. Hop in, right? I'm giving away free 30 days for Black Friday, Christmas. It's going to go to the end of the year. I'm not worried about putting an end on it. You know, we're always just looking to show you what we do here. Just hop in and then open a ticket in the help section towards the bottom. But this is a short more so than long, in my opinion. Healthy retracement and then continuation. Well, anybody got anything else? We've been going here for about an hour and a half. We are just cooking with charts. See what the daily looks like. I mean, daily's got room to the upside. I'm just not top blasting it. I'm going to share this in Discord. Yeah, silver's getting a pump. Yeah, it tapped VWAP this morning and then got a nice big old bump to the upside. Although it is looking toppy. So here's like the catch-22 for, like, we're in my short zone, right? Let's clean this up a little bit. This one was worked out perfectly. And we have that break of structure on silver. But what we need to know is what we're coming up into. So we have a larger time frame, weekly, daily break structure to the downside. And again, this could, I mean, weekly's at the top. It could just keep going. But with that said, you know, we're pulling out on bearish divergences on the 4-hour, right? So I'm entertaining a short on silver in this area. I'm looking for some sort of break of the new curve. We have one down here we have drawn. We have a new steeper one down here. We can put in, but same thing, bearish divergences. Here was the top of the volume on the 4-hour. Here's the high on the candle. We have now put a higher high in. Volume is rolling out of the market. This is still stock. It's just a little bit different color than my one over here, right? This is my crypto setup. This is my stock setup. If it blasts through this level, you know, I think this invalidation can come up a little higher yet. I'm not anything in silver at the moment. Gold's got to look the same way. So my point that I was getting to is if stocks are going to pump and crypto's going to pump, commodities have got to come down, right? You can't be risk off in commodities and risk on in more riskier things like stocks and crypto and things like that at the same time. There's not enough money to go around. These rotate, right? So that's gold. This is silver. Silver looks a little crazier. I'm sorry, you did ask for silver first, didn't you? But here's that daily high, right? Here's that daily shift into the daily low. That kept getting manipulated a little lower. You know, just we follow the wicks. There's no break here. And there is a break here, right? So if it breaks structure down here, the high to put in this low is up here. So I'm entertaining silver shorts all the way up into this zone up here, right? But if I'm going to be risk on in crypto, I want to be risk off in this or short commodities. But this is pumping, man. This is undeniably just moving uphill. It looks better than gold. It took out this entire phase here. I wanted to see it take out. I mean, there's really nothing left besides the breaker block. Excuse me, order block, not breaker block. So if we close above the daily high, you know, maybe the theory of crypto just coming down lower for commodities to higher is where we want to be, right? And we talked about both those scenarios. But we have a nice tight curve here again, right? And this is the wrong tool. So once we start shifting down below our curve, I'll be entertaining shorts, right? So we have a 1 hour break. And 1 hour structure low. And then we'll look for some kind of internal shift as well below this curve, right? If we just start getting toppy and Barty at the top here, it'll start looking like Bart Simpson's head. You know, we'll entertain the new trend line that starts to form. So, you know, something like this. You know, however it forms. And then we're looking for back test on the former supply chain, and then we're looking for the short. So something like that. And this is going to go all the way back down to 48 bucks. All right, so here you get a shift of structure. You know, we hope it holds here for the bulls. If it doesn't, it just keeps going down. And again, this could be just, it keeps blasting out, right? If this just breaks and keeps going, you know, stocks are going to come down. Crypto is going to come down. There'll be signs in the market that we are wrong on these. And this just keeps going. So we may be positioned backwards, but we'll just reposition, right? So we'll take the shorts in the stocks, or excuse me, take the shorts in the crypto and the stocks that we're currently long on and just flip the other way. And we're following market structure. I mean, gold looks excessively weaker than silver, so I'm not sure if there's something unique going on with silver that I'm not aware of. Skincare and health products, huh? With tallow. I got some honey tallow. Honey infused tallow. I guess it's a face moisturizer. I guess silver looked good. Gold, not so much. But are we putting... Did we check for divergences here? I don't know if we did or not. We are. Right? So here's your high. Right? We're getting a secondary push now, but we're still lower. Right? So here's your high on the charts. Right here. We are pushing up. Volume is still fading. You know, we're making a kind of an exhaustion area on the 30 here. Maybe some higher time frames will be more confluent. I mean, 8 hour could be a push up. Oh, thanks, brother. Fully engulfed daily candle. Break structure. Yeah, that's crazy. Silver looks to be doing its own thing. Either a bolt trap. And what's Platt doing? So Platt's moving sideways with a fresh break in the 4 hour, but volume still lower. Again, these have been nice to have longs in, but you can only play so much. Let's take a look at natural gas breaking out. Oil at a bottom. This is just the West Texas one I like. Stocks just busting. Apple all-time high. New break structure. On the weekly. Got a gap fill here on AMD. CLSK. Oh, energy. Is this an energy company? CleanSpark? I mean, energy is bullish because of AI, right? All these new data centers they're putting in. I think this is a... Is that what that is? You guys gotta clean me up on this. Is it ClearSpark? CleanSpark. Air, energy, material supplies, development, statewide programs, policies, permits, regulations. Yes? Okay. I think energy is a niche play right now. I think anything that's directly or indirectly to AI is a niche play. So I think potentially this is probably a pretty good buy right now, right? So if I'm looking at long-term accumulation on the weekly chart, I might actually buy some of this on spot. I might hop into like E-Trade and buy some. So we have huge demand. So demand is held on the weekly. We had a break structure on the weekly that has defined a new demand zone. And the reason this is like directly related to AI, they're building data centers everywhere, right? I live out in the Pennsylvania area. Microsoft just bought 3 Mile Island, TMI. Oh, it's Bitcoin mining? Is it primarily profit for Bitcoin mining? That may change how I feel about that a little bit. But new demand is held. New break structure. That break structure has held the previous low. And that previous low made a new break structure, which held the previous low, which made a new break structure, right? So I don't think this is a huge stop loss, is it? Ooh, 30%. Candles, baby. That's a weekly candle. So let's go into daily. So we are right at resistance. So here's kind of the upside down model too, right? So shoulder, head, shoulder, continuation to the downside. So if this is a Bitcoin mining company and Bitcoin capitulates, this could capitulate as well. If this is more AI industry energy, I'm looking for an acceptance above this range to invalidate this head and shoulders pattern, back test, and then continuation. So I'm looking for one more break structure here on the daily, right? And it could be anything. We have this pull up. I want to see a retracement into a healthy zone, right? So we're probably going to hit our head here, right? This is clean resistance. So if we get above this, it's acceptance in the previous auction. As of right now, this is just a deviation of current auction. So if we get a little bit of resistance here, which, you know, you can see the 50 and the 100 MA bands there, which will probably provide that resistance that we're looking for. And we'll look for a retracement, right? Where is fair value currently building? Right here. This is untapped imbalance in the charts, right? So if we can come back into this zone, which I'm going to set an alarm for. Let's see where that's at on the fib. And this is just going from the current high. If the daily closes higher, or the tomorrow or Friday pushes higher, tomorrow's closed, you know, we can change these levels a little bit. I mean, that's just part of the game plan. That's about right in the 0.50. So this is going to be 0.50, and with a 30% pump, it could come a little lower than that, right? But this is going to be on the daily. I feel like 4 hours just as valid, because if it closes back below this, it's going to continue down. So I like something like this. So we find that new trend line kind of right in here somewhere, wherever it comes back down. And it may take a while, right? It may do this. It whacks its head. And then finally it comes back down into, oh god, like look at this beautiful order block on the hour chart. I will refine that even into here. I don't need any more than that. And let me explain to you why in a second here. This is a 1 hour order block. 1 hour OB. I'm going to set an alarm right there as soon as we tap it. And I'm going to look for spot play on it. I'll just hop over in the Coinbase into E-Trade and just pick some up. So a couple things are happening here, right? So we have a break structure here on the hour chart. It's like Riot or Mara. Okay, are they profitable? Do we know that for a fact, Jimmy? You can answer in Discord. You don't have to answer in TikTok. So we had a very, 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 very bearish pullback, right? A lot. This is probably 60. Yeah, about 60%. I'm not even at the top. It's a good guess. 57% maybe. And people were looking to short the bottom like idiots, right? And then we came up into clawing in this gap close, and we had two things happen. We had this doji candle, which gave us a retracement with a gap back up, and we had these guys step in and close. So there are trapped shorts right here in this candle. So that order block got instantly split up and trapped these guys. So there is a very high probability right now that these people are trying to pull this price action back down to A, let themselves out, or B, continue the short down that they were right. So we can see what some kind of internal market structure does in the meantime, but hours bullish, 4 hours bullish, daily's bullish, and the weekly could close up bullish this week if it looks good. So this is something I've got some alarms on. And I'm going to go ahead and add it to my chart here as well. Something I'm interested in purchasing. So add symbol. CleanSpark. There we go. I like this 1 hour order block here. So we just simply get everybody who was late to the party and we just run it out. I'm not interested again in top lasting this. I'm looking for healthy plays. It's good. Profitable's good, especially when you're sold off like that. What's the all-time high on this? This could be a massive run-up. It does not look healthy, though. It looks like a shit coin. What's the market cap? It just posted 763 million in revenue for the fiscal year. 102% rise with a net income of $365 million. Reversing last year's loss. So they were not profitable in 2024. 30-day volumes 32 million. Market capitalization is 3.9 billion. Man, these were super speculative when they launched, I guess. I mean, this is still profit taking from way up here. Yeah, it's funny you say that. I'm not sure how to say your name there, darling. If you use bar chart. Barchart.com. If not, I'm just using the TradingView interface, and most of my crypto news comes from Velo. You can see it all just popping up. Whoop, my camera's actually covering that. Let me see if I can fix that. So Velo.xyz is my crypto go-to. You can see it all popping up right there. Just pops all day long, and I just read them as they come up. I prefer bar chart really over anything else, but the Bloomberg terminal on Twitter is good too. I'm not a huge news trader though. I'm just a market structure trader. But this could be a nasty 80% play on spot. I don't think I can long this on BTC. BTCC. CLSK. Oh my god, I can. This is on BTCC, guys, for USD leverage plays. So I'm gonna go ahead and favorite that there. It is up 14% today. If this comes back into my zone, I will play this with crypto and not USD. So if you guys want to play this with crypto, hop in Discord. I'll get you the link for that. Yeah, the opposite's happening right now, treasures. Silver's leading the charge, and gold is lagging. On both market structure breaks on the higher time frames and percentage to gain, right? So here's gold, here's silver. So is the leading indicator that silver's or gold's topping out and it's going to pull silver down? Kind of my theory, but again, if crypto dumps and these stock like Alphabet just put huge numbers up for their earnings, right, and they're leading the market right now. So Google is just destroying the charts. All-time highs. By a lot. This is ridiculous. You know, the excuse there is stocks have a healthy pullback if they're up. Where's fiscal year? Right here. If they're up 130% for the year, right? And the commodities all-time highs I've already hit. Silver hit a 2029 or 2009, not 2029, a 2011, I thought it was 9, a 2011 high, right? Now there's an excuse here that you have like some sort of generational breakout on silver, right? Yeah, this is a pattern. This is a let me measure it, I guess. A 5,383 day accumulation pattern. Like that, 770 bars on the weekly. It's a multi-year, a 12, 13, 14 year, you know, pattern breaking out on silver potentially. All right, is this where the world economy just takes a huge increase in supply chain costs because silver and gold, commodity, oil, energy, everything just continues to break out to the upside, destroys us fiscally. I mean, another 35% in silver maybe on a weekly chart. So weekly's got a SFP here and bring this down. That's crazy. Insane to me. You know, do you have the same excuse for gold? Not really. Gold's an all-time high. It's price discovery. You know, do you have the same excuse for oil? I mean, oil's not following, right? But it's got an excuse to follow if it breaks trend. You know, this could be another long. I can just play. We'll just add an alert. So looking for long on a weekly break. Natural gas. I mean, not really the same excuse, but a bull flag on the weekly. Platinum, all-time highs. Once it broke the curve. Sometimes it's just that easy with trend lines. So, I mean, I already had it here, right? So, as soon as we get a break of this, or a break of this, it's already got a timer on it. We're looking for shorts. Again, either these continue to generational all-time highs or they top out much like some of these stocks have and we continue to the downside. I think one of the most undervalued dogs right now in the fight is Ribbon. I've got a shit ton of this on E-Trade. I'm looking for a move on this. I'm looking like 200 or 300%. But I'm in at the lows. I've been accumulating Ribbon all in this area here. It's just taken significantly longer than I thought it would. They had some layoff news. We have a new low that if we invalidate, I might be able to take a little off the table and profit. EP. Stop. On E-Trade. We can take a look at LYFT. So I guess, is rideshare getting cut into by automation companies at all? I don't know. Ooh, it ate some ass though, that's for sure. So
Dunk, one question.
Yes, sir.
Do you trade those stocks on BTCC?
If it's available, yep. If not, if it's something I really like, I'll just buy spot. Like it's got to be a long-term macro swing play. I'm talking months. So that CLSK, I'll probably just get on BTCC, as a leverage play. But my Rivian is not. It is on E-Trade.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep. So we do have weekly market structure breaks here. So let's just do the market structure poll. Obviously, we got top to bottom all-time high. This was the high we had to break. We did not. This is the high we had to break. We did not. This is the high we had to break. We did not. And we held the bottom. Right? So that is about the bottom of our market structure poll until we had the first break of structure on the weekly. And let's see if we've held this. So weekly low long could have been in right here on this break. 31% stop loss is ass. So we would have probably waited for the weekly to top. Pulled in fair value. Golden pocket. That would have gave us 18%. But as soon as it broke structure, we could have just pulled that real tight. Then we're targeting the high, which we already got. I mean, is this the re-rise of LYFT? I don't know. As a company, is it in that good of shape? But let's pull the market structure. We have the entry. All right, so here's a low. We got to hold the low and break structure, which we did. Right? We got to hold the low or break structure, what we did. And then we had a claw back. So we re-broke weekly structure to the bottom, but we've held the low. So now we have trend. We held trend. So that would have been probably the end of the play for me. And new weekly break is here. So not bad. So new weekly low. So anything you're currently in now is going to be invalidated below 13 bucks. We have a back test of the range high. So we had a decent mitigation phase. Let's see how oversold we are. We're considerably oversold in the weekly. So weekly is putting in bearish divergence. So here's your high in the oscillator. Here's your high in the price action. We wicked higher than that on price, and we did not on the volume. So we are currently putting in bearish divergence on the weekly. So I'm not taking this as an entry signal as of yet. Let's go into the daily. So let's look at, thanks for the follow, Bilius? I'm not sure how you say that. Let's get a fib pull from the low to mid to high. We are in the 0.50, which is a bullish retracement. Daily is oversold, but is not putting in bullish divergences. Right? So as far as internal day trading, you know, at the high, at the low. But this could be putting a market structure shift in right here on like a 4 hour. So we'll take a look at this. Volume is exhausted. I think we're still going to come down further. If I'm a market maker and I'm looking where to manipulate, I'm probably looking to manipulate this low, right? So twice now we've put in double bottom. So stop losses are certainly engineered here and here at about $18.98. If I'm looking to take those out, I'm probably looking to come down a little further. I'm probably looking golden pocket and then potentially a bounce. And that would give us an option for oscillator to move up and then come back down. Price action to give us a lower low, oscillator to give us a higher high, and we get that bullish divergence. Okay, so I'm probably looking for some sort of imbalance here to fill, which is actually on the daily not super visible. I think I'd be just as happy with this order block on the 4 hour. So maybe we front run the golden pocket because this imbalance is filled here with that wick. We have a slight gap fill here. This has had such a blow up top here that I'm unsure where this is going to come down into. I'm looking at like 16 and a half, 18 and a half. I'm honestly anywhere in this area, but it's unfortunately big. It's not always that unclear. I just don't like this pattern it's putting in. So, I mean, this is model 2 to the downside. If we can't clean this top up, it just comes down. So here's our, if we break this, we can invalidate and then potentially look for a continuation entry. Let's trade Ethereum. It's all over the place. A 32% channel. You really have to be patient with nailing an entry on this. I wish I could be cleaner on this for you, but I just don't know. I mean, even something like this is so over exaggerated. Like, that's nothing. We're chopping higher, which is good. Daily's oversold, which is good. But this is a pretty clean example of what I want to happen, right? How many candles are we printing? 1. Just for example's sakes. Again, with a 30% channel, I'm not just taking a stab in the dark with it. I'm looking for something clean. But let's just pretend like today's right here. Like it's pushing into the moving average, just a green candle. It's pushing into the same moving average with a green candle, although it's much bigger. And it's moving off of structure break to the upside, so a little bit more bullish scenario. But here's your oscillator low. You know, here's your low on the chart. So they're kind of lining up just like what I'm talking about now. And then we pull back, right? But what do we do when we pull back? We did that exact scenario. You put a lower low in on the charts, a higher low in the oscillator, and then continued. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking for right here again. I'm looking for a bullish divergence on the oscillator form. Give me a reason. Bullish divergences, hidden bullish divergences are leading indicators. So if price is pulling back and we don't break that low again, we have an excuse to continue to the upside. So pulling back into like that 17.5 range, that 18.5 range. I mean, this gap fill is actually congruent with another 4-hour order block. It's a tough one. I'm not longing this because resistance is clearly right above us at 21 bucks. So more indifferent on this than I have been on some of the other ones. So this move down here is higher. This is whale selling, right? And potentially, you know, we're getting a 4-hour bottom again. Again, no hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour either. So price made a low at the exact moment the oscillator made a low. So even on the 4-hour chart, if I can come down again, put in a slightly lower low and then a higher high on the oscillator and put that divergence in, I'd be looking for something like that. There's so many scenarios here I just built out. I don't want to make it too confusing. I'm not a buyer right here. Maybe I'm a buyer over the breakout and we leave some money on the table. And I'm okay with that. I want to be sure of order flow. I'm just not sure from this point in time. And that is not a 4-hour break structure. That is a SFP currently on the 4-hour. Let's take a look at space. That's not even enough info there for me to share with the crew. It's not solid enough. This is Virgin Galactic. Is this the guy that put Katy Perry in space and made her an astronaut? Or is that Amazon? I don't know what these guys are doing. Somebody tell me what Virgin Galactic... This is Richard Branson's company, right? It looks fucking dead. I mean, it looks dead for a number of years. This looks like crypto. Is Virgin Galactic... Somebody confirm that's Richard Branson's company? Market capitalization, 231 million is pretty weak. Average 30-day volume, 3.5 million. It's not bad. Today's volume, 1 million, which is... Cardano's done 4 times that. Never paid dividends, doesn't plan to. Income statements look like ass. SpaceX wannabe. I don't remember the ticker now already. My eyes are starting to boggle out of my head. SPCE. Let's see if we got any actual news coming in. They're positive in revenue in the year. Kevin O'Leary's got good things to say about it. I respect his opinion. Applied volatility still 17%. I don't see any like threats of Chapter 11. Goldman Sachs reaffirms their holdings. I mean, there may be a case that this is forming a bottom, and it could be explosive. I mean, look at this last move, manipulation, and then bang. Although I wouldn't want to hold that, right? So let's just do weekly. I just want to make sure this is worth actually doing. So if we're pretending this is the Bitcoin bear market, our max drawdown is pretty easy. We have a 45%. Can I get this on BTC? I don't probably think SPCE. I cannot. I'm not really interested in holding this on spot, but a stop out here at 11% would probably be my max on the weekly. We have a nice liquidity curve we are building to the upside. Let me pull the TikTok Studio back up on my other monitor. There we go. We have an excuse that we are building longs, right? If Goldman Sachs is still interested, why shouldn't I be? We have a very clear... I might buy some of this. Let's see if I can talk myself into it. Alert. Alert. So it is technically a symmetrical triangle. I don't know why we're setting off alarms already. I mean, this is a bullish pattern. So previous auction high has been wicked into several times. We have actually established the fact that we have excess supply in the market at this level. So every time we wick into here, people who are thinking we are moving lower after breaking this structure to the downside continue to sell off. So we have buyers that are coming in here. They step into sellers that keep manipulating us lower. So the first thing we really need to do on price action here is get acceptance into the old auction house, the old range. So we need something like this. We need to come up. Yep. We need to break structure above current high, establish ourselves as remaining in this old auction house with acceptance. Right now, this is still a weekly chart, so this is a lot. With a weekly being oversold here, which is kind of crazy. So if we do get acceptance in here, you know, if we tighten this up a little bit, we have an excuse for a Model 2, right? Shoulder, head, shoulder, extrapolation to the upside, you know, becomes something like this, right? And that would be the only thing I want to do with this coin or this chart. If I'm buying at $3, I'm looking to sell at this gap fill, probably at 14 bucks. Look at this. Oops. Lines this up perfectly right here into our imbalance. I'm just going to call it an FFG, but it is also a gap fill on the charts. Okay, so that is our weekly excuse to purchase this. Where your stop loss is, I think it's just below liquidity curve. I'm tempted to pick some of this up. I may have just talked myself into it. Let's move into the daily off the weekly. So daily has a structure high very similar to the weekly, but we do have an IBOS. So we have an internal break structure up here for the daily. It's a DIBOS. I don't have any 2 candle intent anywhere but right now. So we have like, this is going to be a 4-hour IBOS. Thanks for the follow. I'm not sure who that was. I wasn't looking fast enough. Working Dogs YouTube. Anybody still hanging out here with me, guys? Hop over into the description of TikTok. Join the Discord. 330 days. All right, so there's daily. 4-hour obviously has a beautiful break structure here, if we can get it. And then this is also going to be, I mean, this is crazy. This is daily. This is going to be 12-hour. This is going to be 8-hour. And obviously every derivative below that. So it's going to be 4-hour. And weekly remains at the top. So from here, again, we're getting into like a, this is the 50 and the 100. Because I grabbed the wrong tool. So this is a bearish cross. So is this just one last gasp before we move lower? We got to break this high, right? Show me intent that we want to break this high. So $3 to $3.80. You know, you're not giving up a lot. To get another 6% to confirm that this wants to shift order flow here. So I'm looking for a 4-hour candle close above this. You know, pretend this is a green candle up and over. 4 hours building a nice curve on volume. It is not exacerbated to the top yet. There's no oversold in this here yet. So even if we, so this is a manipulation low SFP. We had an SFP of the low. I don't hate this. I may wait to see what it does Friday. If I can find some sort of like healthy retracement here with an imbalance, which I do see. Right into the golden pocket. Again, this is so oversold. We're matter wherever this goes. If it breaks over, I'm looking for the back test and hold. But let's just say the daily closes here, and then tomorrow it kind of turns over a little bit. Let's see if the hour's oversold. Yeah, hour's smoked. So now we're in the hour chart. You know, we get something like this. I even like this order block here on the hour. Beautiful fuckers. I love that. So I'm going to set some alarms here. Just in this order block. Watching for retracement into fair value. Watching for retracement. And again, I'm not top blasting this. It's just giving me healthy price action that tells me, hey, look, we have a 1 hour break structure. We have a continuation pattern. We're now in excess supply on the chart. This is all excess supply. Naturally, we're probably going to get a pullback because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times already. So we have not held a break structure yet on even an hour chart. Actually, we've not had we had one. We had a break structure here. It came back, manipulated low. So if it manipulates low, the target's the high that created it, which is up here, right? So it gives us another excuse for it to come down and continue higher. I don't hate this. I'm going to add this to my charts. So I'm going to continue to watch this. I may do a little bit more of a deep dive into what they're all about right now, because it is a hitter. But a rally play back to 12 or 13, 14 bucks with a full year of consolidation. I don't know what caused this. Is this when they were like building rockets for the government or some bullshit? But look at this price action down here compared to what's going on. I mean, you really got to get into this. This could be really set up for a gamma squeeze too, right? If Wall Street Bets gets a hold of this, I mean, they could push this into like a weekly high with like some nasty gamma, like 55 bucks. That's cart way before horse, so don't take that as gospel, please. I like that we're setting higher lows. I have a play in mind now. Couple alarms set, and we'll see where it goes. Thanks for the follow. We already got that guy. What's this one, J-Bang? ASTS. Space Mobile. Never even fucking heard of this. I mean, same thing. It's in the shitter. All the space stuff's in the shitter. Because the government contracts all got canceled with Biden. Oh, this is still high, though. The bear dip looks like it played out. I mean, Model 2 could be next here, right? So we're getting a little bit up, trying to hit support here, but if we come down, set that second shoulder in, this looks like it could go down shitter here. Yeah, that's an easy target. So weekly looks bearish with a potential retrace. We've already pulled through the golden pocket. That's not healthy. We got a nice liquidity curve to the upside. If we break, we're kind of right in it now, though, huh? So fresh break structure on the daily, 4 hour, 8 hour, 12 hour. Is this the exhaustion to the downside? We hit a gap fill. Perfectly, too. Look at that. Four hours coiling up. I don't necessarily love the weak candle action here. It needs to break this curve for me. So what I need to see is a break over. You know, potentially back into these bands, a healthy retracement back into the curve, and then a potential long. So resistance, back test, continuation. So I'm not a buyer here. It looks like it could just roll over and die. Volume says otherwise in the 4, 8, 12, 22, daily. So 2-day bullish or 1-day bullish divergence already set. 8 hour, 4 hour already set. Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent until it shows me something else. It's another one of those with a massive channel. This is probably 20%, 15%. Remind me of this one on Friday if you want to see it again. I set an alarm here. We'll see what happens. Bitcoin still looks healthy. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. We're pushing 2.5 hours. My only weird play today is silver. It didn't work out, but up 3%. That's crazy. All right, guys. One last shout out here. The 13 of you still sitting here hanging out. Description on TikTok has our Discord. 30 days free trade with us live every day in New York.